So I had a video a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was about a week and a half ago, that I made about tying a knot that I thought was a really good knot I had been using for, well over a decade, and realized in the comments that I had been mistaken in thinking that it was the way you're supposed to tie that knot. So I was given the kind of conversation point of saying that I was wrong in my knot, that the trucker's hitch that I had been using for so many years was wrong. And I'm always about like trying to learn new things. And so I felt kind of bad because I did think that I had it right. And therefore, in telling people how to do it, felt bad that maybe somebody had learned it wrong. So I want to say this is not a knot. Don't think about this side. This is just me thinking like, how do I tie off? So the way that I was doing this before was I was tying a half hitch, taking a knot like this, and I'm not very dexterous, so don't expect this to go quick, but I was taking a half hitch and tying it around and making it like, like a normal knot where it doesn't move one way or the other, and it was nice and locked off. And I was going down to whatever the other side of the trailer, let's say this was the other side of my trailer, and hooking around that on the bar there, and then going up through the loop and coming back, and that like basically doubles your towing power. So, obviously this is, and you can like tie it off however you want. The reason that people were taking issue with that is because of this knot being a half hitch. The tighter you pull on this, the more it locks itself into the rope. Now, to be honest, I'm not a knot person. I just showed that video because I thought it was interesting. But I need to put a retraction on it, and this is not going to be something that I can do shortly. So I'm going to try to do this as I can in the long form, and then I'll just link it off of that short one. Okay, so what I basically learned by going on the internet and searching and trying to use other people's like suggestions is that, let's say, for example, that you've got a knot. I'm just going to use a slip knot on this end. Just ignore this again. Pretend this is on the other side of the trailer. That's not what people were taking issue with. And they're trying to say that there are a couple different ways to make this knot here in the middle be stronger and less damaging to the rope, meaning that if you tighten it up, it's not going to stay locked in place. It's going to stay locked in place. It's not going to like hurt the rope or wear it thin. To be honest, I've used this rope for so long now, I don't know what, I've lost track of time on that one. But anyways, so there were a couple different ways to do it. And the one that kept coming up was like a butterfly knot. And I'm not an expert at knot tying. This is going to take me a hot second to remember how that one was done. But it was something like, take a loop like this and you pass it over the top of the original rope here. And then you loop the original rope around it a couple times. I might not have given myself enough bite there. So loop it up like that, and then it goes over, and then the original rope, as far as I understand it, goes over the knot or over that little bite, and then over it again. If you've got enough rope to work with, this works better if you got a lot more rope. Yep. And then once you've got that set up like that, then you twist this over itself and put this hole down, or this line that goes down to your hitch, down through the loop now, and then loop it over your hitch and use that as your torsion point somehow. And no matter what I did, I couldn't figure this out. So I'm not really sure on this one. This just seems way more complicated than it needed to be, and I'm not going to be able to learn that fast enough to make work. It's just not something I'm going to remember how to do. And so that's great if that's good for you and you know how to make that work. I saw some guy say that use the Asian version, and the only version I could find that seemed Asian was a United Kingdom knot that was being tied by a guy in a video. He had an Asian truck and yellow rope, and that was the only one I could find that had anything to do with being Asian. So you didn't give me a link on that one. I wasn't able to follow it up. But the one that I did kind of lock into and probably will use now is one that I found on a canoeing channel. And that was where it's just a slip knot basically. So you're going up and over like that, and then you're cutting back through. and tightening this down. And now your original knot, your original, say the other side of the trailer over here, you've got some bite on that. And now you can go down with your line, hook around the hitch or around the other side of the trailer, come up through and pull against that. And it works the same as mine, except in this instance now, let's say you pinch it down. There's a couple different ones where you can like make a double hitch here and a whole bunch of other stuff. That's great, but it's too complicated for what I need. So I can just pinch that off and either run the line around here and hitch it up to like that section there. And now you've maintained your tension. Oh, and now you've got this thing where you can just like undo it one step. It loops out, you can pull at it. And if you undo this step with just a pull, it snaps free as well. And so that is a knot that I will use. The other one, the butterfly knot with all of the loops and everything that was like looping around, there's just too many potentials there for me to get it wrong. Like, I'll try it again because I don't want to not give it a fair shake. But it basically had something to do with like going up like this. I know I'm failing at this, but I think it was like this. I believe it was the original that went around itself. That seems wrong now I'm looking at it. That maybe it was like this. But then how do you get the loop through? Is it this way? I mean, I could see that might hold, you know, you could go up here, coming back down through, that could hold, I guess, but there's just too many things. And again, you unlock it down at the other end and do the whole thing. That's going to take some practice if that's the one I go with. The one that's just easier and easier to remember is the one that was just like, you know, the little slip knot thing. So I needed to put this retraction video together so that I could show you guys that I'm not opposed to learning, but I also want to be clear, this is not a knot channel. I'm not going to be making knots in this channel. This is just one that I thought was worthwhile, and I will be using this version moving forward. So thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. I'm not opposed to learning. You get set in your ways. Sometimes it's okay to be told you're wrong and, you know, take it for what it's worth and check into it, do your research and look and see if you were wrong. And if you were, admit it, because there's nothing worse than having somebody just go on with life thinking you were right the whole time. So that knot that I was doing before, don't use it. I mean, you can, but the guys were right, or the people, whoever they were, it will damage your rope, and even cotton ropes like this might see some wear and tear. So just, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope this retraction video was okay. And I did it live so that you could see that I wasn't faking it or cutting it together or making it weird.